What gave you the gall, the audacity to think that you could jump in and disrupt?
The real answer is probably liquid courage.
Fair enough. The world of sales has changed more in the last 5 years than at any point in time ever before.
Break the mold of like the old traditional sales style of come in, you make $100 a day, and hopefully you catch some people. It's just not the way of really selling and getting to know people anymore.
Like you gotta go out there and kill some stuff. Yeah. What I'm saying is like, do that. You've got to go out and hunt.
People don't follow business cards. They follow profiles. They follow content. They follow personal brands.
Hates going to networking events. Extremely nervous. That now suddenly turns in the biggest opportunity his company has ever seen.
I don't see companies teaching their SDRs how to go to a networking event, but moreover, when you go to the networking event, how to work the room. That's the most important thing. There's one thing that all champions have in common. They get shit done. So welcome to the Get Shit Done experience. Well, we are back at it again. Yes, this is the Get Shit Done experience, also known as the GSDX podcast. Man, this one has been in the works for a while. We got some friendly faces on today. This one's going to be a really fun one. You know, I always say that they're fun, but we truly do try to make this fun. I personally believe that content on LinkedIn especially is boring, and we are fighting against the boredom of professional content by making it entertaining and informative. And I also think that there's another element to content creation that is extremely important as it relates to social selling. And that's being at events so that you have something to document in the way of content creation. If you have to come up with and think of content every single day, that is extremely difficult and tiresome. And eventually, people will become bored with that. But if you're out and about, you're going to events, you're doing the do, baby, you're in the mix, then you have things to document. And that's really what content should be about. It should be about documenting the things that you're already doing day in and day out and showing the world. So instead of one-on-one, you're having a conversation with somebody, you're documenting it so that one-on-one conversation became 2,000 people that are paying attention and looking in. So today, we are talking to the one and only David Horbinko. Let's go.
Brett's beer, Johnny.
And his partner in crime. I don't know who's Batman. I don't know who's Robin. I think it's Batman and Batman. And this is so.
Damn.
We've got the one and only Michael Spike Engelman. What is happening, sir?
Oh my gosh, it feels good to be here, John.
Dude, this is crazy.
I mean, I'm used to this. Typically, when you've been at our events and you're hosting, and we normally have all the people around us. It's usually loud. We can actually hear ourselves think for once. It's fun to be in the studio.
We're not having 150 people in the same room.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not so sure if it's good that we can actually hear ourselves think right now. That might be a bad thing. I'm starting to freeze up. I don't know what to do. So ladies and gentlemen, these two gentlemen are the OG original founders, now current 100% combined ownership of the Level Up social networking events. And by the way, if you haven't joined one of these events, we're going to put all the information in the description of the podcast. We'll have all the links. You'll see all of our social media content. I've been blessed to be part of this amazing brand story, right? Obviously, these guys originated the events, and they brought people in, which is what they do. They're multipliers. So they bring people in, and they've essentially leaned into the talents and skill sets of other people to build out this amazing movement, if you will. It's more of a movement than anything. And so their events are very unique and different. It's like going to a party and some business opportunities break out kind of a thing. It's not going to a networking event and, oh my gosh, by the way, that turned out to be fun. You're going to something fun that is practical and valuable to your business maturation and your growth. So again, check out Level Up social networking events. Follow their LinkedIn page and follow both of them. So let's just get into the origin story here a little bit. Michael, I'm going to start with you. We're going to call him Spike. That's what everyone calls him. It's an affectionate term.
Yep. I don't think I've gone by Michael since I was 2 years old, man.
All right. So we're going to stick with Spike. By the way, let's start here. How did you get the nickname?
Yeah, it goes back all the way to when I was 2, right? So my dad gave me a buzz cut, started calling me Spike, and by the time I went to go call me Michael again, I didn't answer. So it just kind of stuck. It's in my high school yearbooks as Spike. I mean, like for that sports, like when I was...
You were a ball player too, right? So that worked out.
No, I was a shortstop. So like kind of got like the shortstop name, Spike Engelman. But yeah, I mean, and obviously now being in like a sales role, I mean, there's enough Michaels in the world. I'm happy to go by Spike. And I can't think of anybody else that has called me Michael since, like I said, probably about 2-3 years old. So...
There's always savings, but it's about way more than savings alone. Total Technology Solutions Group redefines managed print services. Excellence is the minimum standard. TTSG is a true managed print service provider, deeply understanding your technology and business goals. Your business is unique. Our solutions are tailored to your current and future business goals. Our customer-first approach empowers and delights. TTSG can ensure your technology environment will scale as your business does. So as you navigate business and constant change, partner with TTSG for premium advisement and seamless implementation of your technology goals. We set the bar high. Your people deserve it. Peace of mind. Powerful innovation. TTSG.com. David, any interesting nicknames that we're not aware of?
I mean,
I would have said slick. You always got the hair kind of slick back, little Pat Riley action going.
No, man. Tim Ward actually knows. So does Chris Peter. So I'm part of Hockey Players in Business, big hockey guy. I used a wood stick till like about a few years ago in beer league, and one of my really good friends coined the nickname Lumber because I just one of the few guys that would actually use a wood stick, and that stuck. So
are you bringing the lumber?
Lumber is the hockey
version of Spike.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's specifically at Johnny's Ice House.
Okay,
shout out to Johnny's
Ice House. Hey, we are looking for sponsors, Johnny. So anyways,
we know the people that own it.
You know people? I know people too. So together we know a lot of people. So how did you two meet?
Yeah, so I'll let you take this one, Dave, and then I can give a little bit of the origin story of Level Up. But
we were both sales guys. This would have been almost 10 years ago. I'd say 8 to 10 years ago, right? And a former employer of ours. We were both at the same company. We were both in sales, different divisions. So we were paired together by management.
Okay.
So my job was to work with a few folks in Spike's division, but we quickly, he was my best referral partner. So we just referred each other business, hung out, set up meetings for each other. Both ended up going on to do different things, and we lost touch, which is natural, right? And then a few years later, I saw what he was doing, and I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, man, I think we might have a chance here to work together." So he was like, "Yeah, dude, let's get a drink." And we did, and then we started going to events together after that and trading some business.
So you guys have been networking, it's just part of the gig. And if you're down in the Chicagoland area, there's a pretty good networking scene. But a lot of the networking scene, if you will, is very cliquey, right? And sometimes it just turns into kind of a wasted experience in that people kind of approach it in a way that you guys are breaking and disrupting the mold of that. So when you had that initial conversation, networking groups are a dime a dozen, what gave you the gall, the audacity to think that you could jump in and disrupt?
The real answer is probably liquid courage.
Well, fair enough.
The very first time, I mean, Dave and I were going to a lot of different events, and just like you mentioned, it's kind of cliquey. We kind of had a lot of the same overlap of different groups that we were going to, and it turned into we feel like we're not getting everything out of this that we could. And so when that drink that Dave was just talking about, it kind of turned into dude, let's start our own, man.
Mm-hmm. That was a different drink. That was the later, but yes.
Yeah, but anyways, during that drink is kind of hey, we can do this better. Let's just get a tight-knit group of people and try and change the game a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's essentially how it all started.
What were the fundamental principles where you had been to, let's say, 5, 6, 7 different kinds? You were going on a repeat basis. It's kind of part of the KPI, right? If you're going to be, and both of you are, you eat what you kill salespeople. So you got to find it, fillet it, right? Mm-hmm. And then retain it and hold on to it. So you kind of have to do the business development and the account management side of the sales game. So with that being said, you're going to these events. There had to be some level of irritation. I think that people are motivated by things that cause them to make a decision to do something. But there's also a level of irritation that tends to get people over the top. So, David, what were you irritated by when you were going to these networking events that kind of caused you to say to Spike, hey, look, like, this is annoying. There's got to be a better way.
That's a nice way to say it. I'd say, they were frustrating, irritating. And that is exactly how this started. We went to an event. It was extremely frustrating. We bought a ticket. We went Tuesday night. We're super frustrated. We're like, let's just go talk across the street over a drink. Just like before we leave. It's like Tuesday at 9:00, right? And the reason is because the irritation is two things. Number one is there's no intention behind the group. It's just like mass email, what email addresses we have in whatever database. So you have like, there's no context, or there's no like understanding or plan of the type of people that you brought in. Are you looking for job seekers? Are you looking for, salespeople? Are you looking for B2C, B2B? Like there's nothing around that. It's just bodies, right? So that's number one, is there's no intention behind it. And then the second part about it is because of that, as a result, so it kind of attached to really the main one is, no one's really like everyone's there for totally different reasons. So I just want to meet people. Trying to sell you my personal finance stuff. Maybe there's some B2B, but the reality is it's an extreme hard challenge to kind of connect with anybody that could make any sense for your business. You're spending time away from family, friends, just time off for yourself at home. So that's the frustration level was high, and a lot of it was like, it's just there's just nothing there. Like it's just
no substance.
There's no substance, and also like there's some kind of like people I don't want to talk to, or even if like they do B2B, and maybe like it does sync up with my job, I would never refer them to a client. Hence, I would never ask them for any referrals. I would never refer them. Right.
So there's a level of like finding people that you'd want to hang out with.
Yeah. So that's it. So number one, intention. What type of people do you have in the group? Right. Like that was huge for us. And then the second part is just making connection, all about the vibes, man. Cool vibes. Like I get like the reason that like we had a drink and we were both probably feeling each other out after us having lost touch for a few years. When we first reconnected, a lot of it was just sizing each other up and being like, would I even want to, would we want to refer each other?
Yeah.
Like in a good way too. It's like, hey man, like I still get along with people, but I like, hey, it probably wouldn't put you in front of any clients or partners or of mine, but
there's people, look, let's be honest. Like we have friends that we socialize with, but I'm not introducing them to business friends. Right.
Yeah.
And then you have business friends who would be like, yeah, you're great, but I'm not so sure that I would really want to, do business with you or that I would want to hang out with you, right? So you're trying to find a way to connect the two.
Exactly. That's it. So we just hit it, right? So like that's what you're trying to do in networking, is to find somebody that's cool, that you can vibe with and hang out with, maybe even in a work setting. And then the second part is you would actually refer them to a client of yours that puts money in your pocket. Because you're not gonna want to ask for referrals if I can't give you any. Why would I ever ask you for anything, right? So that was it, and yeah, we went to like a general networking event like that. Frustrated, walked across the street, and it was actually Spike that was like, "Hey, let's just do our own group." I thought it was a dumb idea, and I think we have we had the time to do it. So I'll never forget that, man, because like honestly, bro, like that was so cool. It was just like one of those moments where it was like, he's right. I knew he was right. Went home and
3 years later to finally admit it's fun.
But got there. How it started was Spike sent out a Outlook invite at like 7:30 the next morning with a handful of our friends that we just knew were cool people that do B2B, which is what we do. And he was like, hey, I know the owner of this bar next to my apartment. I already got a spot. Like the guy will give us a little corner area. Just throw some cool people on the Outlook invite. So the first event was on an Outlook invite with 7 total people.
There you go.
That's how we started.
Play Jenga.
And that was, exactly. And that was about, if I had to guess, I just looked, by the way, I think it was about 52 months ago.
Okay.
So that's how we started.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
and we've done an event ever since then. So 52 events ago.
Yeah, in a row. And you guys are lifer salespeople, right? So Spike, I've been in sales my whole career in some capacity. You can call branding and marketing and podcasting, whatever, but I'm still ultimately, my job is to generate attention awareness, which is the beginning part of business development, right? We know that there are some fundamentals to sales, i.e., pulling door handles, phone calls, emails, working your network, right? But the world of sales has changed more in the last 5 years than at any point in time ever before. So that kind of had something to do with this. What did you notice was happening in sales 52 months ago or before that, where you said to yourself, like, something is happening here where it's kind of coming full circle, where we lost in person and now in person is even more important than ever before? So kind of walk me through what some of the thought process was.
Yeah, it was kind of a combination of right place, wrong time type of mentality, where when we first started this, I had just started at a new company and was trying to do a lot of new outreach. And it was also right kind of towards the tail end of COVID. So a lot of people were still working from home, a lot of like the caller ID type of piece, right? Where if you call someone, everyone has caller ID now, right? Yeah. So you were mentioning like outreach for like via like cold calls is too difficult to do. And so being in positions where both of us are relationship driven sales, I knew something different had to take place. And so like as we're going through this kind of piece of like, hey, let's start this and let's get just good people together and see who we can kind of help each other out with. I knew you had to almost like break the mold of like the old traditional sales style of, you know, you come in, you make 100 dials a day and hopefully you catch some people, but that's just not the way of really selling and getting to know people anymore. So I think that was like the biggest driver of you had to try to do something different than the way like the traditional approach was of like the 80s and like all those like movies back in the day.
The boiler room kind of a thing.
Smile and aisle mentality. So I think that's really what drove it. And in my role of doing like insurance sales, there's a lot of relationships. There's like brothers, cousins, neighbors, and everything. And I come from a country town, and all my family's from education. So coming up to Chicago, it's like, how do I build this network to be able to refer me? And that's essentially what kind of birthed this.
In other words, also you didn't have a natural network, so you had to build one.
Exactly.
Which is so, David. Well, like, let's put you in the position of director of sales right now. Okay.
Nice.
So you're a director of sales of an organization. It could even be the organization you represent right now. Shout out to Insperity. By the way, TTSG, GSD Technologies and 2020 Design. This podcast is powered by them. We are in their headquarters right now. Thank you, Tim Ward, for this beautiful studio. And by the way, folks, if you're looking for managed print services, or you need a managed service provider for your IT, or if you want SEO and like the most beautiful website ever, you can make one call to 3 brands and get all of those things taken care of. And that person would be Tim Ward to do that. Insperity, via David Horbenko, handles our PEO. And if I recall, Insperity invented the term. So am I right by that?
Yeah, the term, the whole concept.
The whole concept. So
should have patented that, baby.
Yeah, so we feel pretty good about our representation through Insperity right now. It's so easy to use the portal, by the way, and all the process. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
Great partnership.
Love it.
So I digress. Let's put you back in the director of sales role. So you're director of sales. You just hired 15 straight out of college or 1 to 2 years of sales experience SDRs. What are you teaching them? What are they doing wrong? What are companies doing wrong with their SDR game? And what do they need to be doing? This is really putting you on the spot, but I'm also preparing you for your maturation process into the director of sales for Insperity role.
Yeah. Number one is qualification, right? Not just this is the key for me. Not just industry, revenue, employee count, like whatever you're selling, right? Like that's important.
The ICP.
Right. That's your table stakes is the ICP, right? The ideal client profile. So that's number one. But number two, it should be, in my opinion, like the people. Like what kind of people like is this company? Like is their office nice or is their office not so great? Like what type of like you can kind of get a feel for a little bit on the outside looking in just with LinkedIn and websites and Zoom info and all these resources that you might have available for you. Like what's the philosophy of the company? Like I can meet with another SEO company that doesn't care about their people.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to buy Insperity. You guys did, but that was an easy win for me because it was like, oh yeah, like I want to take care of Tim Ward. I want to take care of my people. I want to offer them the best stuff. Hands down, no doubt about it. Whatever, make the cost work, sure. But, he's already bought in because the culture here is that, right? If I meet with another company, it's just not going to be that way, right? Necessarily. So if I'm the director of sales, I would say quality leads the ICP, but follow it up on personality. And then moving forward, you got to do the emails, cold calling, and all that jazz. But in my opinion, I think the best way to go about it is to develop different circles of peripheral referral partners or COI, center of influence. Mm-hmm. So for me, I have 4 or 5 that I talk to almost on a weekly basis. And we're consistently going through our networks and making 5 introductions for each other.
Lead share.
Every other week. Like not just like a lead share. Like I am making 5 intros for you.
Yeah.
Every other week or once a month. And that's my core 5 to 10 people. Mm-hmm. And they're doing the same for me. So I'm always going to have, between everybody, I can count on walking into a month with 5 new appointments out of the 10 that's required, let's say, in my, full-time role. So I've always got those, but they're going to get more from me. And then they have other referral partners. And then I've got a second level. It's like maybe, a couple times, once or twice a quarter. And then I've got another one that's maybe like 2-3 times a year, right? So I have 3 different rings, and it's the referral partners that I find. Now, how do I find them? Come to Level Up. You can come to Level Up and find somebody that you can know how to grow with. And it could be, I sell managed print services. I already work with TTSG, but if I didn't work with somebody like that, maybe I meet with the salesperson in the loop. We hit it off. We have a good time. Like, okay, cool. Like I can see this. Plus your company is good too. So quite frankly, like it's got to be a good fit company wise, personality wise, and then understand like how they get their business. And then the last part I would say is just to always make sure, man, like if you're going to do that, you got to give to get. You got to be able to refer them. If you feel like you can't refer them, you can't work with them. You're never going to be able, you can't go and ask them for referrals. So that's what I would say is like, get your ICP down. That's table stakes, personality of the company. Try to understand that and then fold that into your prospecting for email campaigns, LinkedIn messages, all that jazz you got to do. That's super boring. But the key is because you got to hunt, right? Like if you're hungry, you're not going to plant seeds to make food that's going to be ready in a month. Yeah. Like you got to eat. So you got to go out there and kill some stuff. Tim Moore knows about that. So like what I'm saying is like, do that. You've got to go out and hunt. You have to. You just do.
But you're also talking about the reciprocity side of it.
Yeah. But you got to have those referral partners, which you can meet through not just the events that we do, but the member portal that we have on our website. So I guess that would be like the main thing that I would really highlight is you got to develop partnerships, but you got to be able to refer them. I talk to people all the time. They're like, yeah, I meet with this person or this person. We partner a lot with insurance brokers. I partner with this insurance broker, but he or she doesn't give me any referral. I'm like, great. How many referrals have you given them?
He's not referring to me, by the way.
Yeah. And then a lot of times the answer is, well, I don't really, not really. Yeah. So none.
Yeah. Reciprocity.
So why would they give you any?
I learned a lot.
Now it could be some people are like, hey, I'll refer you. You don't need to refer me. I'll just take the referral fees. Maybe you got referral fees. That's cool. I do that a lot, actually, here and with other partners too. If that's your understanding, that's okay. But if the understanding is, hey, you're going to refer each other, and it's like you're like playing a weird game of chicken where you don't refer.
Who's going to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And constantly one side is just basically saying to themselves on the other, how come,
what am I getting from this?
Like, I'm not getting anything. It's like, and then also here's the other thing I would say, as a director, I could get into this. I like this job.
Ooh, he's digging in.
I like this.
There will be no pay. I would say there will be no pay increase, David. Stop. Just a show. It's a hypothetical.
Stop doing the constant coffees and lunches and happy hours with like these referral partners with no agenda or nothing that you're getting behind it. So you're doing all these, oh great, tell me about you. Like, no, man, you gotta be dominant with your schedule. And that's why, like, on the events, like, I take great pride in the fact that somebody carved time from a 6 to 8 p.m. window during the week to come out to a level up event. That means a lot. There's a lot of responsibility on us to make sure that time is valuable, not just the 2 hours, but the time spent to get there, to go back home or wherever you're going, right? Or take away from another event that, now they can't make because they're coming to yours. But you got to be laser focused on the time that we have is so valuable. Knock it off with the lunches and the coffees and breakfast and all that stuff. Hey, we can work together. Great. Let's jump on a quick 15, 20-minute Zoom. Why are we doing a 30-minute Zoom? Do it 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Boom. This is what we could do. I could do this. Great. I'll make 5 introductions for you. When can you do it? I could probably by the end of the week. Okay. I'll make a commitment. I could do it too. So you do it by the end of the week. I'll do it by the end of the week. We'll make these intros. And so what I have is I actually have like a Word doc that I use as a working Word doc for my core referral partners, but really everybody, where we track. So we track all the referrals. We have email templates that we use. We do it different ways. But once we've connected and made it, we don't need to hang out and all the time. You can if you want, but man, what are we doing? Your job is to get more meetings, and more meetings gives you more at-bats, the opportunity to price folks out, and the opportunity to bring new business in, and ultimately increase your income to take care of you and your family.
Let me play devil's advocate here, because there's going to be people listening to this going, look, I tried the networking thing, but every time I went to a networking event, it was all salespeople. So I need the chief procurement officer, or I need a CIO, or I need a CTO. I need CMOs. Well, they're not at the networking event. It's just salespeople trying to sell their thing. Well, I'm a salesperson. Salespeople don't buy stuff. They sell stuff. So why would I go to this? You get that objection. I know that you do. So what would you say to that? And how are the folks making that objection? How do they need to change their perspective and think about that differently? Because I will tell you, I'm going to be honest, there is some truth to that. But that doesn't mean that it's a non-starter. It means that you need to know how to work that, similar to what David just talked about. So how do you leverage that?
Yeah, it's a very common objection, and it's not going anywhere, right? Where I would say one thing, similar to what he mentioned, is finding those COIs, where a lot of times you can find these other salespeople that are selling to the same groups that you're trying to. Mm-hmm. So they might be trying to go for that CEO or that CFO, where maybe they did sell them their services, or they have someone in their bubble that you can still go to. And yes, you can kind of grow together per se, right? Where it might not be a direct sale to the CFO or CEO, whoever you're looking for, but these people have their networks of people that they have from their client's perspective or who they're trying to target, where you can target these groups together. And I would say too, with that kind of objection piece that you're mentioning, come in with an open mind. Don't come in with the aspect of, I'm going to come in and I'm going to hit a home run here and I'm going to sell to 3 people my services or whatever I'm trying to offer. Come in with the aspect of, hey, I'm trying to find people to help grow my brand, my personal strategy, everything that he was just mentioning there, but with the aspect of, I know I'm not going to come in and hit this home run, but I'm going to hit a single because I'm going to find this person that could maybe even introduce me to their CEO, or maybe their brother is a CEO, or whatever it may be, right? But salespeople, we all like to have fun together. It's fun to come out and socialize, and you can start to strategize in a more fun environment in the sense of, hey, it doesn't have to be work to try and go out and find your leads. Finding these people that are in similar mentality, similar roles to you, you're going to be able to relate to them. But go out there with the intention of, hey, no agenda. How can we help each other out? It's not always going to work, but sometimes you'll find people like myself and Dave where we just naturally clicked. And we have these different testimonials and people that have come through that have said, hey, I've gotten my first client at your event, or, I've met so-and-so and they actually led me to my biggest client and now we're hiring X amount of people. So, in a long-winded answer, I'd say be open-minded. It's generally going to be a lot of different salespeople. Really, these are kind of like main ones that we host, but I mean, there's other subcategories of events that you will be able to find more strategic. But with these general networking events, just come open-minded.
Is there a business, David, in, okay, so I've been in sales leadership. I've trained salespeople. I've seen multiple brands and what their training manual looks like. They onboard a salesperson. It's a lot about implementing them into the KPIs. We make this many phone calls. This is the talk track. We make this many emails. This is the email template. This is what the brand message is. So if you're going to create content, we need you to use what marketing put out. This is the message. And here's the fonts. And here's the graphics. And here's the such and such. I see the training on that. And I think that is relevant. But is there a business or is there an avenue for training on how to network? Because I don't see it in, like, I've been in orientations and I don't see anyone going, all right, this
coming soon.
This 4 hours of training is going to be on how to network. Now you're smiling at me because we didn't talk about this. So this is just my own instincts and I didn't know there's something coming. So, and that's sincere. I'm looking right in the camera. I had no idea. And there's a twinkle in both their eyes right now because they're seeing this too. So what is it? I must be onto something if I'm thinking this way, because I don't see companies teaching their SDRs how to go to a networking event. But moreover, when you go to the networking event, how to work the room. And that's the most important thing.
Bro, that's exactly it. People don't know how to work the room. And I've seen so many people go to an awesome event.
Like a wallflower.
What's actually happened? There was 2 different people. They went to the same exact event. One walked out and said, wow, that was the best event I've ever been to. I made like 4 or 5 connections. I already have a follow-up call on one of them. That was amazing. And then the same person, another person. They both did like pretty similar ICPs, similar type of people that they both want to meet. That person walks out and goes, geez, what a waste. What a waste. I didn't get anything out of it. And I could easily tell. I'm like, well, one person worked the room, listened way more than they talked, and had some fun. The other person wallflowered it and talked to one person the whole time.
And when they talked to that one person, they just gave their 2-minute elevator pitch. And it was absolutely any question.
They were actually friends, so like they were just.
That's so not even.
They weren't even. What
are you doing this weekend? Yeah, you know what I'm doing this weekend. We're golfing. Oh, okay. Well, this event sucks. So what are you? So is there a business model in this? So is there a training? Because imagine this: you've got a group of, let's say, 15 SDRs. The demographic on that, let's say, is under the age of 28. They grew up with a phone in their hand. They text message each other when they're sitting next to each other. They Snapchat. This is the way. Totally cool socially, no problem. Not terribly effective from a business standpoint. So, is there a business in going into an organization and saying, we are going to train your SDRs on how to pick the right networking events, how to make it part of their KPIs, how to then go to the networking event with intention, right? How to work the room. And then the most important part that we're going to get into that you both need to speak to is, what the hell do you do after the networking event? So, Spike, walk me through, is that something that could be and should be happening? And is that a role in a company? And if not, is that something you sub out to level up network training seminars?
So part of the reason we had that little twinkle and smile, we just looked at each other, is because we're at a very fun point of the next evolution of Level Up. And it's one of the things that Dave and I have been talking about for a long time now, like how to actually truly maximize the time at the event, the follow-up, so forth. Because I've had people that have came up to me and said like, hey, I YouTube like how to be at a networking event, or like how do you start a conversation? So
I've been petrified at 25 years old going to one of these. If there's a bunch of 50-something
And we have sympathy.
pros, yeah, it's a culture shock.
And we don't do name tags, so it's a little harder.
You really got to put yourself out there. So what are the steps?
It's a very, very real thing. And one of the things that we're about to be kind of come down the pipeline here is actually doing different like networking 101 types of classes, like seminars type of things. And then on our website portal, there's going to be basically like a how to maximize like little videos and like little tutorials that we'll show. And then I don't want to spoil too much because we're still kind of rolling it out, but it's one of the things that Dave and I have talked about, even just helping those people truly maximize that. And then going, like you said, to different companies of, hey, like 30 minutes, let's all sit down in the cafeteria, do like a little lunch and learn. How do you maximize your time? How do you actually talk to people at these events? Like, what's a good way to do the follow-ups? And from there, I guess I'll tease it just in the sense of it's coming on our portal, and we're open to doing different things with different.
We want to help. There's definitely something missing in the market. I mean, a lot of that is you have to learn it on your own. At the end of the day, your company's not going to spoon feed you everything.
Yeah,
they got a business to run.
Well, here's
the other thing is I also just share this just with general salespeople, especially folks that are younger or new to the industry. No company, I don't care. You could have the best company that does training in the world. At the end of the day, they can't spoon feed you everything.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to spend some time on the nights and weekends, and when you do some stuff to practice on your own. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I still do my own Zoom meetings to myself, and will do a proposal to myself via Zoom that I record so I can watch later.
Yeah,
because I want to make sure my communication is on point. I want to make sure I'm listening more than I'm talking. I'm being an advisor, and there's definitely still like you all want to get better.
Yeah,
like if you don't look back at yourself, even like less than even a year ago or 6 months ago, and cringe a little bit, be like, man, I should have fixed that or whatever. Like if you do it healthy, it's a good thing. You always want to be improving and growing, otherwise you're dying.
So we see this often though, and to the point, like there are people that you could hire to come in and talk to your SDR team about how to work the phone. Like, what should be the opening hook? How do you establish rapport, credibility, commonality? How do you get to the first fact-finding question? How do you walk through the question asking to establish want, need, pain, quantify, qualify, right? Or qualify, quantify. And then to essentially repeat that back and essentially create a case. A case for why it makes sense to partner. I think it would be pretty cool for an organization to go, hey, look, here's what we recognize right now. The whole sales game's changed. Right? So like
totally different.
So making 100 phone, I could train you all day on how to make the phone calls, but if you make 200 phone calls in a day and 2 people answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do now? What am I going to tell you now? You got to make 600 phone calls so you can get to 10? Like that doesn't seem practical. And it seems like a way to really burn people out. So I think we could all agree that the whole sales game has changed in that people don't want to be sold to, they want to buy. And they're doing a lot of their buyers are spending a lot more time doing research to figure out who they want to buy from before they even have contact with that human being.
100%.
And they want the same thing that we want at a networking event or in our lead sharing groups is people we can vibe with, that we can be friends with, that we can have mutual reciprocity with, a give, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's coming more from 2 elements now that I think businesses really need to lean into in their sales training, which would be number 1, training your people how to network properly, how to build these groups, how to go to a networking event and make it worthwhile. And the second would be how to document that through social selling and how to take that to the next level. So after somebody goes to the networking event, what should they be doing? First off, what should they be doing at the event? Let's get into that. Spike, like, how does a 25-year-old go up to a 55-year-old and break ice, establish commonality, establish credibility, and identify what somebody actually might really want?
Yep. I would say the easiest way to do something like that is to just ask them simply, what brought you here? Why are you at the event? Right? Because it at least opens the door to see what their intentions are. And you don't have to beat around the bush, like similar to that if like you're, trying to make sales other ways, right? You're getting to the point and what's their purpose, because you only have a certain amount of time you can maximize at these events, right? There's 2 hours. That opens that door to truly say like, hey, I'm looking for my next client. I'm looking to hire my next representative. Whatever that intention may be. It's such a simple question that people typically, when they come to the event, they feel like, hey, I'm here, I'm trying to get something out of this. But asking that question is already going to help you qualify, similar to like what Dave was mentioning earlier of, all right, is this someone that I can start to mesh with, build a relationship with, and so forth?
Did you see the episode of Rogan where Bill Murray was on Rogan?
I did not.
And
know.
Bill Murray had never been on a podcast before.
Really?
And so Bill Murray was just getting up in the studio and walking around. And at one point he just went, I have to go to the bathroom. And he just got up and walked out. And he was like talking and he wasn't talking to the mic. And Rogan at one point just looked at him and just went, what are you doing? Like, nobody can hear you. I'm pretty sure that David Horbenko is related to Bill Murray because in the middle of, this was the first, man, in the middle of a podcast, David just put his finger up and then went like this and just got up and walked out. And we might need to do a check on David. We're not really sure what exactly happened, but I'm not sure if there was an emergency phone call that came in or maybe the attention deficit is kicking in really hardcore. So
you know what it is? It's probably that natural instinct when we're doing these at the event. Someone's
that's so what you say.
Wait a second, I need to go figure this out. So make an introduction.
I might have to put some crowd noise in here because normally we're doing these live stream from the networking events. So I don't know what happened to David, but maybe he went to golf. I don't know. His drink's still here. So what should folks be doing after?
Yeah,
because you go in there. Oh, he's back. You go in there and you meet 4 or 5 people. Yep. You have, let's say, out of the 4 or 5 people that you spoke with, you had 2 conversations that were of substance, and you've identified that these are maybe some good opportunities for them and you. What do you do now? What do you do the day after?
Yep. So here's what I do leading up to this. When you're at the event, a lot of times business cards are starting to phase out anyways. Right?
Business cards. What are those?
Yeah, right. So what I do is I'll put in my notes sections of my phone, like, hey, John Morris talked about TTSG, whatever it was, right? And then say, like, get your email. I'll follow up the next day and say, hey, great talking about blah, blah, blah. At some point, let's go ahead and grab like a coffee, lunch, dinner, whatever it may be, right? And I know like today's point, those can't be all like everything that you do in terms of your building your pipeline, your funnel, but just having that simple follow-up with them and saying like, find those 3 to 5 people, hit on a quick point that you talked about just so they knew you were paying attention during the conversation and they know you're not just in it for yourself. And then just find a time like, hey, when can we meet? When's a good time to see if we can be mutually beneficial for one another?
It's schedule the time.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. The main thing is just following up and actually executing on it, because we see time and time again, people come to these events, they'll meet a couple of great people, and then they won't put in the work afterwards.
Yep.
So something as simple as that. I mean, it doesn't have to be really rocket science.
IT decision makers, this might sting. Frustrated with IT issues, security threats, and the stress of your technology infrastructure, your technology should blend seamlessly with your business objectives. Technology infrastructure management with limited resources can be exhausting and counterproductive. Do you have an MSP but still have problems and technical hiccups? GSD's advisement, proactive maintenance, cutting-edge cybersecurity, cloud solutions, data backup, and local 24/7 help desk can change the game. Your technology should outpace your business operations to allow for growth, and proactive strategies should prevent issues before they arise. Get back your time and your money with GSD. Drive business forward. Leave the technology to GSD. GSDnow.com. You're not going to the event to sell, by the way, folks. We know that it's could be deemed as a sales activity. However, it's more of a marketing activity. So you're going to essentially establish demand, and it's a lead gen process. It's not a sales process. Much like if you go to a trade show, it's kind of like the golden rule, like don't try and sell me or close me at the trade show. Like I'm here to talk to multiple people, and just 'cause this is discovery. So when you go to a trade show, there are some unwritten rules, much like at a networking event, and that would be like don't try and close somebody at the networking event. You're going to kind of cross the line. That should happen after the fact. I do want to show people, and I'm going to put this into the camera here. I want folks to pull up their phone, and I want you to tap on your LinkedIn app. Okay? On the LinkedIn app, right when you pull it up, on your main feed, there's a search bar. I want you to push that search bar. When you push the search bar, if you'll notice in the far right, there's a little thing, almost looks like a QR code, not quite. You're going to click on that. And what's going to happen is your personal LinkedIn QR code is going to pop up. You don't need business cards anymore, people. What we're trying to do is establish a following, okay? People don't follow business cards. They follow profiles. They follow content. They follow personal brands. So you're going to click on that. You're going to ask the person to take out their phone. They're going to take the little picture and they're going to get the QR code. They're going to pop up and you're going to ask them right away to essentially connect, to follow. You at that point don't even need to send an email. You can now start a DM. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that off and you're going to do something really fun real quick here. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my phone out. And we're going to do this live on air.
Let's go.
And I'm going to essentially take a little selfie on air. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture that moment when we met and we connected on LinkedIn. And I'm going to send them that picture in the DM saying, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. Look how good we look together. This was pretty awesome. We take a great picture together. We should take a lot more pictures like this together. Then I'm going to write a post the next day saying how nice it was to meet Spike Engelman and David Horbinko at the event last night. By the way, if you guys are looking for CPA services, here's the person you should go to. I vetted them. Mm-hmm. Unbelievably brilliant. Can't wait to partner with them and to continue to network with them in the future. If you're looking for a CPA, here's who you would go to. And you're going to tag them and their CPA firm on that post. So now they get a DM and you promoted them on LinkedIn. Now, at that point, you want to talk about reciprocity. I really just gave you something because I just used my platform, my following to promote your business. What do you think they're going to do in return at that point?
Oh, yeah. They're going to help out. They're going to do the same type of thing.
There's going to be a give back, but even better, the next event you go to, you don't get a handshake, you get a hug.
Right.
You're in at that point. Like so the follow-up email is an amazing thing and it should be done. But if you couple it with that, now we're really networking. And we're networking to the masses. We're taking one interaction and turning it into 4,000 views.
And the other thing, John, too, which I'm so glad you brought that up because it made me think of a line that I always try and end with is two different kind of variations of it is, hey, like on my LinkedIn, like let me know who I can introduce you to or let me know like how I can help out. Because at that point, like it's even any conversation I ever end with, whether it be at networking events, sales meetings, whatever it may be, like, what do you need from me? Leave that open-ended to, again, like help that aspect of like, I'm truly in it to help you out. Like, this is a teamwork here, right? Let's figure out the best way we can make this happen for both of us. And that's what truly creates like the relationships. It's not transactional anymore. That's what truly grows like these events. And I think why people continue to come back because once you get to that LinkedIn stage, then it can show like, hey, boom, now we're truly trying to sell like these lead groups and everything that Dave was kind of talking about earlier. But it's just a simple question to end like the conversation with like, hey, what can I do to help? What do you need from me? And it's shocking how long the way that goes because people are kind of like, wait, no one's really asked me that before because people are typically out for what can I get out of this?
I love that. David, you sent me in February of 2024. You sent me an invite to your CEO, owner, founder version of Level Up, which is far more intimate. It's very much vetted. It's not open to everyone to come out. It's a little higher price point, but you're getting people in the room that really need to be in the room. You're getting CEOs and founders in a room together. Let's face it, CEOs and founders tend to be the real rainmakers in the game. They hire a bunch of salespeople to go out and be rainmakers for them, but they're typically the lead rainmaker. So you're getting them in the room. And the depth of conversation, there's more one-on-one time. They get a chance to kind of go around the room and really describe who they are, what they do, why they started their business, what their business, what they solve for companies as a business. And they break bread together, and then there's some really cool conversations that happen from that. I was honored that the two of you had invited me to one of those when I was transitioning roles. In doing so, I had the beauty of having Tim Ward come running in a little bit late, park this car out on the street, threw somebody some shekels to watch his vehicle for him. The damn thing was probably still running. He came in, we had a chance to meet, and it turned into a career opportunity for me, hence the reason why you're listening to this podcast right now. So I have to give you credit for the show that you're on. Has to do with the fact that I came to your show. Okay? Your show being a networking event. And that's why you're listening to this event, because I met Tim Ward, and Tim Ward had a vision to bring his 3 amazing brands to the marketplace in an interesting way. And his motto is get shit done. So boom, there you go. The get shit
That's
done
actually
experience.
the day I found out GSD stands for.
There you go.
Shit done.
So pretty badass experience. Yeah, pretty badass experience for all of us involved. So thank you for that. What was kind of the idea behind adding that element to it, adding that type of networking event where it's a little bit more intimate and kind of a byproduct of the full?
You want to take that one?
Yeah. I would say since we've started this, we're always trying to evolve and continue like the next type of thing, right? Where we know that our bread and butter is always going to be these general networking events for the masses, but at the same time, it's not going to always appeal to everyone, right? So a lot of times these CEOs, C-level suite people, families or different obligations after hours that they can't really make these events, but they can do something during a lunch hour and they want to be around their peer groups. So as we kind of think about different ideas and different events or different types of ways to just continue to grow the brand, it's one of the ideas that we had and was like, hey, we have started to grow quite a bit of a following just from like that CEO style anyways. We're very much, let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And this was one of our ideas. And then the next thing you know, we've been hosting those monthly. And I mean, it's honestly so cool listening to you tell that story because, I mean, sitting there that day, me and Dave will moderate like the group and we want to try and help facilitate different things. But during that time, we sat back and was like, let these two kind of go at it. Like you two talking across the room and you telling your story and everything. But it's one of those like humbling moments that shows like sometimes all you got to do is just put the environment in place and let the magic happen itself.
Yeah.
You know, you don't got to force things. Things will happen naturally, organically, authentically. And it's a really cool like story just for us to be able to show and say, and like you said, I mean, now sitting here right now, it's.
And by the way, the conversation of the Golf with JMO show started there too.
Yep.
Like I had written it down in my vision board like 2 months earlier, and had been thinking about it. But that's where I had first pitched the idea. It was really well received, and so that was really cool. I want to tell you another thing that I think is really awesome about it is you're giving CEOs an opportunity to lead from the front. Because most CEOs are saying to their sales team, you need to get out there, you need to network, you need to be doing all these different things to build your circle. And you're giving CEOs the opportunity to do that and then go back to their team and essentially say, this is how you do it, right? So, but a lot of CEOs are not going to go to the 150-person networking event where they know that there's people that are entry level to CEO level. They want to go to the more targeted event. So you've opened that door up and you've given them an opportunity to lead from the front.
And it kind of turns into like those luncheons as well as almost like a little think tank too, where they can spitball different ideas like, hey, this is a problem I'm having. What are you guys doing to help solve this? And you don't have to be in the same industry. Everyone's kind of got the similar problems, but you know, there's just different ways to skin the cat or however that saying goes, right? Yeah. So it's just another different thing that we're trying to add onto it, and continue to just enhance the brand, help different people in different ways. There's never going to be just one event that's going to help everyone. It's, and like you said, it's cool to lead from the front and then show like, hey, I'm doing these types of events. You guys better get your butts out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard for somebody to argue. If you see your CEO at the events and creating content and posting about it and,
Right.
And bringing in opportunities and telling the story that, hey, I met him at a networking event and that's how this is a new customer. It's kind of hard for the salespeople at that point to go, well, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
It's like, well, you have employment because I go do this.
The other thing is, you ever notice like,
You can see the wheels turning.
I could do a, grind. You know what? You remember the Peter Griffin show on Family Guy? You know what grinds my gears?
Uh-huh.
This is one of those segments.
Yeah.
All right. People say they go to a networking event. And there's like, oh, there's nobody to sell to. Yeah, no kidding. Level Up is designed for B2B. Tim Ward's not coming to my events. Kyler Holloway is coming to my events.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren Klaus is going to come to my events now in Schaumburg. Shout out to our next event in Schaumburg, right?
Cool.
So like promoted by, sponsored by you guys.
We can do ad reads too, John.
So
I think mine are better.
yeah.
A little bit, but yeah, we'll work on it.
Hey, you got
Promoted by you guys. Yeah, I think mine. I don't know. I think I do them a little better. Give me a little credit.
You do. It's by design. So read up on where you're going, who's going to be there, because you're clearly not like doing that. Which takes 2 seconds, by the way. I mean, the amount of technology you have at your fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. All right. So this is B2B. Great. So what's your goal coming into this event? What are you going to walk away out of? If you're going to spend time, it's $25 to go to a Level Up event.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to spend an extra $15, $20 Uber there and back, or drive, pay for parking. Know what you're walking into, and that's the event. Now, we are creating other events like owner and C-level executive only luncheons. We're doing happy hours. We're going to do industry specific as we grow. We're going to do newsletters. We're going to do some classes. Like, there's a lot of things that we got cooking for Level Up for later in 2025 and 2026. We're not doing any of this though. Like, we're just creating the environment, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come in and make it your own and do it yourself. But Level Up was not built just by us. It was built by great people like you guys. I mean, we can name so many people that have gotten great opportunities from and
sponsors.
Sponsors
for such a reasonable price are essentially getting 2 hours of airtime, a lot of play. They're attached to the content. You guys are putting out multiple content pieces. So being a sponsor is a great way to, number one, you hand them the mic. So they get to essentially do their 2-minute drill to 150 people. How often do you get a chance in a month to stand up in front of 150 people and say, hi, my name is, this is the business I run, and this is the problems that we solve? Probably not a lot. Where everyone stops and listens, 150 people, that's worth every penny to be a sponsor on that. Plus your logo on every single content piece that goes out pre and post.
We have 4,000 people in our email database now.
So I mean, so there's a lot of ways, and a lot of the sponsors have lined up business because of being a sponsor.
Yeah, we actually we have a sponsor that got into the biggest. He's a finalist now, into the biggest opportunity in the history of the company by going to one event.
And he drove the very first event too.
Very first event.
If that's always the way it works, let's be honest.
It's a guy I grew up with.
Yeah.
Hates going to networking events. Extremely nervous. Didn't want to go. Pops in for one. It was, by the way, it's like 45 miles from his house.
Yeah.
His event. Uber nervous. He pops in, ends up jumping on our podcast in the event.
Yeah.
And he gets a lead that now suddenly turns into the biggest opportunity his company has ever seen.
Wow.
And it would make him a nice commission check.
The cool thing with this too is the guy he got the lead from, I think it was his like third or fourth event too.
And he was a sponsor.
Yeah, so he was a sponsor. So I mean, it just goes to show, I mean, that you go on open-minded, you never know where these dots can connect you to.
Yeah. Well, this just overcame the introverts out there. There's a lot of introverts out there. And by the way, you can be an amazing salesperson, especially account manager, and be an introvert. you can. Like, I'd recommend if you're in business development or brand promotion or whatever, maybe being a bit of an extrovert. But there's a lot of different types of sales that are very effective for an introvert. Networking is a scary thing for introverts, but you just gave an exact reason as to why, like, you got to get over the annoyance of it. So why is the events that you run accommodating to both sides, the extrovert and the introvert?
I would say, Dave kind of alluded to this earlier, but one of the things that separated us and why we wanted to start our own thing was because we want to give that feel of like a Friday night you would go out with your friends at cool locations. We mix it up around different parts of the city, just to make it where it's somewhere that you're going to feel comfortable with if you were going to grab a drink on Friday night with friends. So something like as simple as that. And then we don't do name tags. We want to make it as just authentic. Go up, introduce yourself, be yourself, put yourself in that uncomfortable position. And the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes. So doing a couple of simple things like that, we're just mixing up those different vibes. And then we do a couple different things that make it a little bit more different compared to other events as well, with doing our own podcast at the event. And shout out to you. You're the reason why we started doing that. So, I mean,
we're not as dumb as we look. Don't answer that, David.
And then just a couple other like pieces that we'll do is we really like to highlight our members from like a social media standpoint too. Mm-hmm. I hate to refer to it as a party because it's not a party, but it's social with intention, right? Mm-hmm. If you're coming out on a Thursday night, Wednesday night, whatever the event is, like, we want it to be as low key and relaxed and a fun environment as you can have, but still being purposeful with it.
This is the way, though. This is what I'm talking about, David, with content creation. Yep. If you look at LinkedIn's feed right now, it's a lot of inform. Here's what I do. Here's how I do it. You know, here's 25 different selfies that I've taken from interesting places. And here's 25 bullet points of how you can do what I do. And it's like, it's talking at me, right? And the entertainment value is lacking. Mm-hmm. And so I think that folks that are jumping onto, like an Alex B. Sheridan, I really appreciate Alex because he understands the idea that you have to entertain in order to get your information across effectively. There's nothing wrong with being ultra creative and getting your ideas and your information across. You can deliver an entertaining methodology that gives it an informative message. And I think that that's what you've done in the way of in-person, because you're not leading, you're leading with the social part, but essentially guiding people to the business part when they get there. I.e., I've seen you several times, somebody comes in, you can tell that they're having trouble breaking ice, and you walk them over to, you'll go up to them, you go, who do you need to meet? Like, what type of person you want to meet? And you know your attendees, and you'll go introduce them and break the ice for them, and then kind of be like, all right, you guys go now. And it's like kind of like the matchmaking process.
And I'm sorry to jump in for 1 second, but I think one of the coolest parts with this is originally that's how Dave and I first started doing, and we're always going to continue to do this. But even just with people on our team now, like a Rob Miller, who you've met before, who does all our photos, videos, everything, I would consider him an introvert. But there's been times now where I've seen him kind of go to the new person that has that little nervous appeal, and he'll help introduce, or other people on our team, they'll do the same type of thing. So it's really cool to watch, like you said, like some of these introverts that have been tough, like and felt uncomfortable, do the same things that we have started the group on, and kind of the purpose and growth of it.
I'll just share, try to pull it right now. We have an agenda, pretty specific, if I could find it here, but
on the Eventbrite is what he's talking about.
So on the Eventbrite, so if you do your research, right, you sign up on Eventbrite, right? Sign up on Eventbrite. We got the details right here, and we got founders and first timers. We're going to be there early. You can arrive at 5:50 right on here. Can't find it, but at 5:50, right? 5:50 to 6 o'clock, that 10-15 minutes, come early. You got myself, you got Spike, you got great partners of ours, or teammates, I should say. You're a team member. And sponsors to help you through it. Or just to give you an understanding, right? So when you're talking about, like, I signed up for this event, take the time to do the research, bro. Like,
don't just
Like if
show
you
up.
meet with a prospect, would you walk in and be like, "Hey, what do you guys do?"
Oh God, I hope not. I hope not.
So, but I see that at events. Like, what is this? I'm like, you didn't like look at the Eventbrite,
Yeah.
bro, or like look at our website.
And that founders,
It's all on there.
that founders and first timers, because use that
Probably shouldn't be in sales.
Founders and first timers though is nice. So this my buddy that I grew up with, he came early,
Mhm.
one of the first to arrive, but there's not a whole lot of people there. Had a chance to meet Spike. We got a chance to talk, jump on the podcast before people start walking in. So just do the research, man. Just like spend some time, extra research to know what you're walking into, and then create a plan to have an intention during the event and after the event, specifically on the post game follow ups. And then what was I going with this? I lost my train of thought, but follow the agenda. Founders and first. Oh, the last thing I would say is a lot of times bring a buddy too. I do recommend bringing a friend.
Yeah, a little comfort.
You know, him and I go to events together, so it would be nice. Like we would be like, and then have a plan. So like before we started Level Up, you know, our businesses matched really well together. So we would have a plan. Be like, all right, cool. We're gonna walk in. Maybe we'll talk between each other for a few minutes, and then that's it, man. I'll see you in 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna divide and conquer. And then we're going to come back together at the end of the night and be like, who'd you meet with? Who'd you meet with? That's why we were meeting at the bar across the street. It wasn't just to plan this. It's always like, that was our plan. Like, who'd you meet with? Who'd you meet with? So just, I would recommend it. I would definitely recommend bringing a buddy. It does make things a lot easier.
Spike, as we mentioned, we're sales folks here. So like, what would be the advice that you would give to somebody who's 1, 2, 3 years into sales? They haven't hit their budget yet, right? They're following the process that their manager has given them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not maxing it out, but they're following it. Like, what would you recommend to them? How does somebody break through and get to the point where both of you have had effective and successful sales careers? In fact, David is having his record all-time best year ever right now. Congratulations for that. So that's pretty awesome. Put a lot of work into that. But what you also have done is on the side, you've built a brand.
Yep.
Okay, so it's like, if you're a salesperson, you can't tell me that you can't figure out how to do these things, because you're looking at two people that have figured out how to do their own job, represent their brand really, really well, be effective, hit their budgets, be part of the total brand experience, while at the same time create their own destiny and use it as a tool to funnel into the brand they represent, and have the brand they represent be cool with it because it's bringing business to them. So that's a pretty cool thing, right? So what would you say to a 1, 2, 3 year salesperson who feels like they're drinking through a fire hose? They're following the process, but they're just not hitting their numbers. What should they be doing? Like, what should be the model of how they should be attacking a day in a week to be effective in sales the way that you guys have?
Yeah, I would say it's two quotes that I think myself and Dave live by. It's first one is you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You got to put yourselves in situations that might be scary, might be tough, that you've never done before. So like going to a networking event for example.
Spooky.
Yeah, right. And then I would also say you have to create your own opportunities. You know, no one's ever going to just hand you a playbook and say, hey, here's the golden goose, take it and run with it. You do this, you're going to become a millionaire. So doing those two different things. And then I guess I would add one more is being creative. Like, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to be the most creative, but you have to find ways to make yourself stand out. Where like, and even in my position in doing insurance, there's a billion insurance agents out there, but the one thing that separates me now is the fact that I can say, hey, I have a database of over 2,000 people I can help introduce you to. And the only reason that took place was because I said, all right, we need to do something that's going to create my own opportunity. So there's obviously a lot of different ways that kind of those quotes you can go about in terms of creating your own opportunities or getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. You have to find out what that does to resonate with you and your position. But you have to take that initiative and to know that realistically, man, I mean, it's It's very truthful. No one's coming out there to save you. You have to go do it yourself.
I'm going to say something I think CEOs are going to like. Salespeople, the CRM sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's been combed through.
Guess what? Hey, salespeople, the leads suck.
Yep.
Those two things are never changing.
The leads are weak.
The leads are, they're terrible. Okay. So
You're weak.
you're weak. Guess what? Create your own destiny. Okay. Create content. Go to networking events. Create your own leads. Self-gen. I used to have a team of salespeople, and we had telemarketers that would write their leads for them, and the leads did suck. And the salespeople would be like, man, I'm not hitting my numbers. These leads suck. I'd be like, great, create your own. Like, what are you waiting for? Go create your own leads.
So it's a little cheesy, but on my laptop, desktop, banner, whatever it's called, home screen, it's my favorite quote that says, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door.
Love it.
So you have to put yourself in those positions, man.
So what's the big vision, David? You guys have got this far. What's the big vision? Where are we going next?
We're going next level, bro. Leveling up. What's this podcast about?
We get shit done. A podcast about leveling up in business and life. I mean, talk about peanut butter and jelly, baby.
Well, do you want to tease what's coming next on the website portal and everything?
The website portal. Hey, so at the end of the day, you're not a robot, you're a human being, and you want to have fun, right? So that's what Level Up is really about. I'll share it with the camera right now. It's all about no name tags, no stiff awkwardness, any of that. Man, have some fun while you're working.
Mm-hmm.
Make some money for yourself, make some money for others, lift people up while you're lifting yourself up. And also don't lone wolf it, right? So that's why you got to do the networking, you got to do the other stuff, unless you don't want to do sales, and then don't.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really exciting is for a lot of folks, we have, not everybody can come to every event. It's impossible. We've got an event once a month, and now we're doing it twice a month now, one in the city and one in Schaumburg. So for a way to continuously help people, as we were talking about, do the follow-ups in between events and to stay connected and engaged within the community, we have launched a new membership portal through levelupsocialclub.com. That's going to make it significantly easier for folks to create their own profile with a headshot, an ideal client profile for them, who they want to meet with, maybe some fun facts about themselves, and then a way to engage with others via direct message. We're also going to have different groups within the website. All our events are going to be posted on there. So there's going to be community content that's available for everybody. So everybody can create a username and profile without paying a monthly fee. But then there are a lot more behind the paywall resources that they're going to have available to them, including private member-only events that we'll be launching here in the next month or so.
Awesome. It's been a long time in the making, guys. I think we had about 15 reschedules, getting 3 people that are out and about.
We were even though each person it was.
I don't. It was seriously. Well, it really was even. It was like, oh man, I'm sick again, or whatever it was. But
Too many events, man.
Too many events. It's been a long time in the making, and it's been a pleasure to collaborate with you and to have you on the episode and to talk about the business. We hope that we've given you guys some value and benefit beyond kind of talking about what Level Up does and stands for. But I really do want to get across the idea that the whole game has changed. The whole sales game has changed. And these guys are at the cutting edge of essentially taking the bull by the horns and saying, if we don't like the game, we're going to change the game. And to your point, like, if nobody's knocking on your door, build a door. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. There's no reason why any of you out there listening to this call can't step it up somewhere within the KPI and get to more networking events, create more content, send more DMs, send more follow-up emails. You can still do your phone calls, you can still do your emails, but imagine if those phone calls and emails actually have some commonality and some substance to it, because there was something that happened before that. Some sort of give, went to a networking event, some sort of touch. and you're just going to make things far more powerful in that regard.
Well, I've got to add one last comment here, and it's a kudos and a thank you from us, because you've been instrumental in helping us grow Level Up for the last 2 years now. I mean, you came to our event back in March of 23.
That was a badass one too.
23, I think it was.
It was a cowboy place.
But you were the one that brought the idea of like, hey, let me do this podcast at your event, and both of us were like, kind of like, well, we've never tried something like that. Let's give it a go.
I was on board right away. You took some. You were like, oh, one of me was
way to throw me under the bus. Well, yeah. But we again, I do want to say, John, like, thank you so much, because you have helped grow us a ton, even just with you posting on LinkedIn, you doing different clips, coming to the events. I mean, people still ask, you haven't came to a few because you've been building this from the ground up, but people still ask to this day, like, hey, where's John at? Like, it's been a little while since we've seen him. So from the bottom of our heart, we do want to say thank you for everything you've done for the brand, helping grow it, promote it. I mean, we would not be where we are without your help and good people like you. So thank you.
I think it's a reciprocity. I think it's a give back, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So there you go. So we're even. Here's the cool thing about being even. Now, who's next to do the next great thing? So expect me to be at some of the, not some.
You know what's
expect me to be at the events on a regular basis in the coming months.
And we're doing Schaumburg events.
Yeah, so that's on the regular for me.
Yeah,
I'm not a city guy. You know,
I know.
If there's not a golf course within 2 miles, you know what I mean? I struggle to be in that.
Bro, you did Schaumburg mostly for you.
I know, and then you pick the day where I'm going to be on vacation, but I will be at all of them after that. I'll be at all of them.
Everybody up. You know, we'll get the people going for the next time.
I'll be at all of them after that, and I will be creating content, and I will be maybe live streaming and podcasting from them if you'll have me. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you on, guys. Any final words you want to throw out there?
Yeah, thank you to Tim Ward for making it all happen.
Yeah, right.
This has been a fun relationship. You guys have been an Asperity client of mine now for 2 years. And I just love you guys, man. I love Tim. Lauren Klaus, special shout out for helping me with, especially with the Schaumburg event. She helped me coordinate and scope some things out there. And then Kyler Holloway, who's been a staple at our city events, is a great representative for GSD Technologies. Last thing I would say is I got to thank my boy Chris Peter for making the introduction to me and Tim Ward 3-4 years ago now. It all came to be because of him. So
you want to talk about a master networker? If you guys don't know, Chris Peter, Akashur, and
but yeah, he knew Tim, and my first time I ever met Tim was us sitting in the same cart, about to play around.
Yeah,
so. Chris made it all happen. I just want to shout out, but it all comes together, man. Like, anyways, that's like the last thing I wanted to say is like, I love you guys. I met Tim at a different point in my life than I met you, and to see like you guys connect later in life and us to just like play a small part of it, but ultimately it was you guys that did it. And here's the thing is like, that's what it all is. I want to create the environment for others to be successful, including the clients that I talk to. So for the young guns, right? You want to be good in sales. Like, you just want to help them. And maybe it's not your product or service. The majority of the time for me, it's not. Not my service. That's better for them. But I'm good at only meeting with the companies that I kind of already know it's probably going to be good for them. And the ones that aren't, I'm just not going to meet with you. But I'll say, hey, go talk to so-and-so. But that's what you got to do, right? Hone in on the ones that are good for you, to go back to the initial conversation about me being director, right? Like, hone in on the ones that like you for sure know, like damn, that's a great fit for us. That's what you guys do really well with, and then just like, and then have fun and make it about them.
And David,
then you're always gonna win.
Where did it all start, David? Where did we meet?
We met through LinkedIn in 2020.
And then what did we do?
We hung out.
Where?
With Mass.
Where?
In Schaumburg.
Where?
Westwood.
What were we doing that I love?
Making videos.
While doing what? Come on, David. We went to Top Golf, baby.
Oh, girl.
We went to Top Golf. We met on LinkedIn. We went to Top Golf. David threw a little networking thing together. This is pre-level up. We went to Top Golf.
Oh, yeah.
Made some introductions.
Does Top Golf
was like the place to be, even though it was like a little cold.
Yeah.
Because like you didn't have to wear their mat, and they had the heaters, and they had the barriers
where it was, and that's where it all started. And we've connected through LinkedIn. And look, this is the reason I bring that up is that is the power of it. So, folks, if you're listening to this and you're not active on LinkedIn, engaging with the content of other people, it's not just about being a creator. It's about engaging with the content of other people, and then asking people to be part of something beyond buying your product or service. We all lead with the ask. Bro, you got to lead with a give, baby.
Can I just add to that? You know what made it so memorable? I'm gonna just give a special shout out to my guy Jay here. I've been at Topgolf like a bunch. I've never seen a guy consistently hit the back net, like almost on the red. Every time he pulled a driver out, I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
And so that was the conversation with everybody. But I also got a chance to meet you, man. And like we were talking through it. You're like, yeah, I did really well. I came out in sales. Like I had this happen to me. Like it was just like I remember that and getting to know you more. And so that's what like I would say too is like that part is important. Like I don't think we talked about work really at all. It was just more of like who you are, where you from, like
how did we get here?
Like and also like what do you want to do, man? Like you want to have some fun, you want to do vacation, you single, you married, you're dating, you got kids, like whatever it is, like get to know someone, man. Like again, like life is short, like make it count. Your goal to go to a level up event should be come away with one good connection and have a little fun in the process.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. What say you, Spike? Final thought.
Well, I'll keep mine a little shorter.
No, you can talk as long as you want.
But I mean, first and foremost, thank you again for obviously having us on.
Well, I take advantage. Well, it was the next time we're going to be here.
True. Well, it'll probably take about 12 reschedules.
12 reschedules easily.
Then we'll get
Start rescheduling next month.
We schedule it for tomorrow. We'll get it in 6 months.
Yeah.
But I've also got to say thank you to our team too. So we've been growing this from the ground up, but it doesn't mean that there hasn't been people supporting us along the way with Holly with Social Light Media, who does all of our social media, Jay from Modern Dope, who helps with the website, Rob Miller, who does all the photography, videography, and then even just the girls that help us with actually running the event with Natasha, Alina, Stephanie.
By the way, all on a volunteer basis, which means that they're getting value out of it and they give a damn and they care and they're so amazing.
Yeah. Especially those girls, Natasha, Alina, Steph, like, thank you so much. Rob, Jay, Holly, of course, has been amazing. I mean, Holly was doing our social media when we had like 15 people coming to events.
Yeah.
Well,
and those girls were doing the front desk.
I've got two last things I'll say, and then
and Rob was doing. They were all there.
But I guess I'll leave it with one. Also, just feel free to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Take that first step of actually coming to an event. Putting yourself in that spot, it's tough, but you'll grow from it as a person. And the last thing, too, as being part of the fam here, I have to give John one of the official Level Up hats, one of the merch. You've probably seen this one here, but Johnny, we love you, man. Thank you for everything you've done for the brand.
This is gonna be worn on the golf course. This will be worn on one of the Golf with JMO shows.
I love it.
All right, so we'll throw that out. Can't thank you guys enough. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Get Shit Done experience. We're asking you to level up. And gents, I want to remind you, you got shit done.
Let's go.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, John.
Can your business handle 15% growth? If yes, you have to engage with 2020 Design. They fuse data and creativity to stop the scroll, break through the noise, and grab the attention of your future customers. 2020 Design will create competitive, click-worthy campaigns, design and build custom websites, spark your social media presence, and structure email campaigns that get right to your audience, the decision maker. Let's boost attention and awareness, which allows you to convert more sales. Check them out at 2020design.com. That's the number 20, TWENTY design.com.